nuances.
Even though we ain't got money, ooh,
I'm so in love with you, honey, and everything will bring a change of love.
In the
Morning when I rise, bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me I'm off.
You are?
I was, yeah.
Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
Yes, dude. End of the year, potty pod for the boys.
End of the year for the boys and girls. For the boys and girls, and for the girls and boys.
We're taping this early, but I think technically this will come out the 29th. So
28th.
28th.
Today.
Happy 28th and almost
Well, it is.
almost the end of 2020.
Yeah.
Man, what a year it's been. But I would like to talk a little bit about why we started with that song, because that song was very special, and the artist who sings that song is very special. Jules, do you want to talk about your love? And we all have Kenny Loggins stories. Steve, you got Kenny Loggins stories too.
Absolutely.
Steve's Kenny Loggins story is well, I don't even like calling him Kenny Loggins. It sounds too official.
It's K-Logs.
Yeah, it's K-Logs, babe.
K-Logs, baby.
Yeah.
K-Logs is the best, man. I got a super sweet spot in my heart for K-Logs. I wish I could have chest bumped him. You pulled me back. Didn't do it. But there's still time.
Yeah, to dive into that nugget of weirdness that Julian just dropped, I did a show in New York at Carnegie Hall. It was like a tribute night for Aretha Franklin. K-Log, sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah, watch yourself.
Yeah, don't diss, dude.
I don't mean to name-splain.
Don't diss.
Being a full namist. Kenny Loggins was on. K-Logs was on the gig. CeeLo was on the gig.
There's a bunch of like old classic Motown people because it was an Aretha Franklin tribute. So there was all these
And
probably like
Alan.
legendary.
Who
people.
else was on
And
it?
Alan.
The-
I remember this guy Ron Pope, who one of my ex-girlfriends used to love so much. He's just like probably not that cool, but
he was a sweet.
there.
He was super nice.
Super sweet, man. I love him.
Yeah, he was really cool.
I saw a show of his.
Anyways, I called Jules. The show is at Carnegie Hall in New York City. I go, Jules, hey, I got this sweet gig. You should come. It's gonna be at Carnegie Hall. It's a Aretha Franklin tribute. He's like, you gonna take me out for dessert afterwards?
Right.
Duh, I
Creme
said.
brulee, dude. I only wanted creme brulee. Baked
I said,
Alaska.
yeah, bro. They're putting me up in a nice hotel. I'll let you. You can have a sleepover and we can get milk duds.
Dude, we've done that plenty of times.
So he calls me back like 2.5 hours later, and he's like, bro, I checked out the flyer. K-Logs is on the gig. I'm in. And then proceeded to text me like the entire month leading up to the concert. Bro, $250 says I can get K-Logs to chest bump me. It's like, there's no... First of all, I'm now reconsidering my offer of letting you come to the concert. You had better not try and chest bump K-Logs. Then I think it turned into like, no, I'm going to get him he's going to ride on my back. I'm going to give him a piggyback ride.
My goodness.
And so
should be able to happen.
It should.
we're backstage, and CeeLo's on stage singing. Now, Carnegie Hall is tiny. Like, all the backstage areas, performers back when they built Carnegie Hall must have all been like 4 foot tall, because the backstage area is tiny. Jules is backstage. The entire cast of people who are playing the show are backstage, and Kenny Loggins is standing right in front of me. Julian's right at my side. Kenny Loggins turns around to me and he said, I forget what he said. He said some super nice, like, musical thing, like, "Hey, man, that was super I really enjoyed your song. You hit, like, a high A over a flat C or something." And I was like, what if I know what that means? Julian, the whole time, I'm holding his arm like this, like, just grabbing him because I can see it in his eyes. He's like, this is my chance. I'm getting the bumps, dude. I'm getting the chi bump.
Dude, CB.
Luckily, he didn't. Luckily, he did not. He did not do it. He did not ask Kenny Loggins for a chest bump or a piggyback ride. But CeeLo got off stage after a song, just murdered it, right? All 4 feet of him, wide and tall. And he goes, "Hi, man, that was fun. Now, somebody direct me to the finger foods."
I told everybody, man, that I did chest bump K-Logs, and I just think I'm gonna stick to that story, even though now it's out in the public. I'm just like to
carry the lie on.
Yes, sometimes you do that. There was a couple things. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, there was a song that I sang so much. Mm-hmm. I'll sing it for you guys in a second. But I thought I had invented it because I had been doing it since I was a kid.
Sure.
And it wasn't until our friend Steph Travers corrected me and was just like, "Dude, I definitely heard that song when I was a kid too." I was like, "No, you didn't. I wrote this song when I was a kid." Right. It goes like this. "Well, I walked downtown and I walked around the block and I walked right into a donut shop and I picked 3 donuts right out of the grease and I gave the lady a 5-cent piece. Well, she looked at the nickel and she looked at me and she said, 'This nickel ain't no good to me. There's a hole in the middle and it goes right through.' Well, I said, 'There's a hole in the donuts too.'"
You thought you wrote that song?
Convinced.
I thought I invented Yo Mama jokes until about 6th grade.
I thought I had invented this until like I was 29 years old. Steph was just like, "Dude, you didn't write that song."
Anybody listening to this, if you can find the author of that tune,
yeah.
And a recording of it, that would be very nice. We're gonna put it.
It's just so funny how you do that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a compulsive liar, but like I definitely believed in my own lies before. Mm-hmm. Even maybe the Kenny Loggins one. I was just K-Logs.
You did not even come close to chest bumping K-Logs.
No, I know, but I had said that I did for so many years.
I'll carry that flag for you.
Yeah, but we do that. I mean, who doesn't put a little bit of salami on the sandwich every so often? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we both do.
I do it.
I think you put salami on the sandwich of the story that you just told about the story.
Yeah, when the bet started at $50 and now it's $250. So I don't
there
know,
was no bet to begin with.
Oh yeah,
I think what happened was just that we saw CeeLo walk off, say finger foods, and I was just like, "Oh my God, Alan, that's K-Logs." He was like, "Bro, don't talk to him." I was just like, "All right."
No, K-Logs.
The truth comes out.
No, I definitely want to
absolutely not.
K-Logs.
K-Logs was standing right in front of us for the whole
for
performance.
2.5 years. Julian was hitting me up with the text. Like, "I'm coming. K-Logs is on the bill."
But that's an interesting deep dive though,
Yeah.
where you put the mustard on a story, because you can't, like, to me the selling point of that story was CeeLo coming off stage and going, "Somebody direct me to the finger foods." Like, that's the funny part.
Yeah.
Right? But there's all these other little, like, valleys and hills in that story that, like, I exaggerated a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, the amount of money that we bet.
Yeah.
Like,
fluff the nuance.
Yeah. Right. Like, the bits that don't really count for the like clarity of the story. I think I think it's okay to throw a little bit of.
It is.
Throw a little bit of.
I think so too.
At the end of the day,
we do it a lot.
Julian chest bumped K-Logs.
I chest bumped K-Logs.
That's what I take out of that.
But
story.
That's a lie.
What?
What I'm saying is, like, if we said that, then the story's not true. But if I say, like,
you could just
for
turn it
2 years, Julian was texting me 3 times a day, I don't feel like that's changing enough of the story for it to be a lie. But if you tell people that you chest bump K-Logs, that's a lie, because you didn't.
I think if we just said that I chest bumped K-Logs, there's going to be no going back and, like, making sure that was true or not. And it just makes me look cool. And that's all I really want.
That's what I want, too, but you didn't do it.
So what? I also didn't hit you up for 3 months talking about
Steve,
when
I have the text chain.
I'm hearing some crumblies in my earphones. Does that mean anything, or are we good?
It's just your headphone jack.
You promise?
Dude, I hope so, man.
Because I want to let everybody know this is our third.
This is our third time trying to get this specific end of the year podcast. And
there's ghosts up here, and they're trying to fudge with us.
You just said the one word.
Ghosts?
Yeah, you don't say ghosts or fudge. You don't say ghosts and fudge in the same
4
thing.
times.
Ghosts say gotta say it 6 times.
It doesn't count if you're talking.
6 times.
If you're talking about a thing, you can say the thing.
Like K-Logs and chest bumping?
No. I'm just not.
Can't. I love how Alan won't let me have chest bumping K-Logs anymore.
It's not happening.
It's all good. I'm gonna chest bump somebody cooler. You know.
Who do you think right now? Like you could call up and get, like, you know well enough that you could get a chest bump from.
Like
And-
celebrity-wise?
Yeah, just like somebody that you could get a chest bump from that you would be like, that is fire.
Bro, probably because we're getting so popular on this podcast, I could probably hit up like Luke Wilson and be like, bro.
No, you have to know them. I'm talking like
I don't know,
reality.
like, I don't nobody. I can't-
Bro,
you would
mine
like
would be-
Matthew Lillard. He's my friend.
That's pretty good.
Miles Telly. Maybe
If
he'll
you get a
bump
chest
me.
bump from Miles Teller,
I could definitely get a chest bump from Miles Teller.
done, dude.
Miles,
Then that's the best one you
Come
got.
chest bump me.
Steve, what's yours?
K-Logs,
Well, you
probably.
K-Logs probably. You did a gig with K-Logs.
Yeah, I did a gig with K-Logs. Didn't chest bump him.
Do you guys want to have an episode where all we do is name drop how many cool people we've hung out with before in our lives?
Mine would be
I forgot
John.
about
Katy
Mine would be
Perry.
John Oates.
I remember when he came into your dressing room that one time when I was on tour with you, and he was just sat down, and was just like, "Hey Al, how you doing?" And we were just like, "You were fine about it. I was peeing and pooping in my britches." It's just like, dude, what is this guy doing? He's like, he came in, talked about Hunter S. Thompson and how he was his neighbor for like.
Oh, you were there
So,
that
yeah.
that day?
Yeah.
That was so
Talked
cool.
about how like his child's like the first experience with death was Hunter S. Thompson for his kid. Like,
Crazy.
yeah, it was a pretty gnarly.
Wait, I
story.
don't remember that part of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I could be
Is this-
incorrect on this.
Is this you bumping K-Logs part of the story?
but- no, not at all. He came into your dressing room when I was on tour with you when you were playing with Hall & Oates,
Right.
and he just graciously kind of, I think he had some time between his set or something, and he just passed through your dressing room, and just kind of was like, hey, he, like had a book that he had written that he wanted to like pass off to you or something like
Yeah,
that.
his autobiography.
And then he kind of, you picked his brain a little bit about something, and then one thing led to another. And he started talking about growing up. 'Cause I think you asked him where he lived, and then he said, yeah, you know, I was neighbors with Hunter S. Thompson for
Yeah.
like 20 years or however long it was. And he said his son's or daughter, his child's first experience with death was seeing Hunter S. Thompson after he'd passed away.
Wow.
Oh shit, I didn't.
Heavy.
Yeah, which was just like,
That's really heavy.
geez, man.
But
like,
Hunter S.
mine was-
Thompson
mine was
died
Graham.
like 10 years ago, didn't he? I mean, it wasn't that long
I
ago.
don't know. You can fact check it, but I don't
Curious
know. That
how
was-
old
I just remember that
John's-
being a story.
Kids are.
Yeah, you can chest bump him.
I think that would be probably the. I'm trying to think of who else like I could actually see in public somewhere and be like, "Hey, dude, this is
We got a chest
this
bump.
is a weird request." But me and my buddies have this long-standing bet going on. It's about $250.
No,
Whoever
two-
whoever gets
200,000.
whoever gets the coolest chest bump wins.
Is there like a deal for the coolest
Dude,
chest
Pete
bump?
Carroll would chest bump you.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Petey
dude.
Carrolls would be rad.
Yeah,
Who
he'd knock
else?
you on your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, those big
Put you to
old
work.
those
Hunter S.
big old
Thompson passed away in
thumpers.
Colorado in 2005.
So it's 10, it was
15.
15 years
So
ago.
It's 5 years ago.
6.5 months ago.
7.5 days.
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete Carroll will give me a chest bump.
Do you think he'd give me one too, just for being your friend?
I don't think so.
I don't think like that's what I assume. That's the funny thing about being your friend is that I just assume that like everybody that likes you likes me back.
Yeah, and it's not true.
Come on, isn't it?
John,
No.
dude, it was we got to
How
go.
about you guys listening right
We-
now?
we
I know
got
you're
to-
only listening for Alan Stone, but don't you like me?
No, everybody loves you, but I think, you assume that everybody that I know knows you.
I just assume in general, not even because of you, like in general in my life, that I assume that like everybody likes me, which
That's
is a
beautiful,
problem.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful
Well, it's
thing.
because I like everybody.
Right.
So like I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So
Right.
like I
Right.
don't dislike anybody, even if they come in and they're like obviously an asshole. I'm just like, oh man, this guy needs to like
He
have
needs a
a
puppy.
heart to
He needs
heart.
a little chest
Let's chat.
bump.
Let's chest bump and chat.
Let's freestyle and then chest bump.
Yeah. I'll do it.
I took my brother John to a Seahawks game. Like we got to go on the field before the game and watch practice and all that. And John's so adorable, man. Jermaine Kearse, used to play for the
Mhm.
Seahawks. Incredible wide receiver. I think he just retired this last year, but he's a really cool cat. And he would always come over and like give me love,
Mhm.
and
Like after scoring a teed.
no, like during just during warm-ups, like essentially I think what happens is the Seahawks will like allow, like the few times I've been down there, like Dave Matthews was down there, and Macklemore was down there, and Joel McHale's always down on the field, and so they try to get people that look
Seattle.
Yeah, from Seattle that are like Seattle's quote unquote celebrities, fingers up in the air. I don't know how the hell I got down there.
Yeah.
But I was good friends with Pete's assistant, who is kind of the liaison for all that.
Mm-hmm.
And Jermaine Kearse would always come over and like give me love, which was like super cool. And one time, Jermaine Kearse like starts walking over towards me and like holding his hand out, right?
Yes.
And John just like gets right in front of me and just bats him, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And he's like, "What up, Jermaine?" Yeah. And Jermaine, I mean, he's sweet. Jermaine's just like, "What's up, man?" But like, obviously was not meant for John.
Yeah, right, dude.
And John just cruises in. He's like, "Bro, you dub, son, you dub."
Yes, dude. John's got the sweetest disposition of all the men I've ever met.
Sweetest disposition.
What a guy.
And then afterwards, like after I batted him and it was fine, John like kind of I think got it after Jermaine like passed him and went to me, and John was like, "Oh shit." He like pulled me aside. He's like, "Did I mess up there?"
Mess that up?
No, dude, you're
so
hilarious.
I've been part of many a wave that wasn't to me, and I wave back just because naturally you do that. And you're just like, oh, no, that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't for me.
I went to a Seahawks game with you once. I wish the story was appropriate enough to tell on this podcast.
Oh, my God, we can't, dude.
I know. I wish it was. I mean, we were just giving the people some little snippets now. It's teaser time, but damn, dude, it's probably one of my favorite stories of you.
Easily the most nerve-wracking day of my life.
Without going too far deep into it, Alan lost feeling in his legs and had to sing the national anthem after a night of a bender.
I had an interesting evening of barbiturates. And
barbiturates. Barbits.
This has never happened to me before again, ever in my life, but the front of my shins, like the muscle that keeps your foot, like that makes you raise your feet up and down, stopped working. And so I couldn't pick my feet up when I was walking.
Oh my God,
and
dude.
I just kept tripping over myself, like over the front of my feet. And I called Julian. I'm like, "Bro, I got to sing the national anthem."
It's like a playoff game.
At a Seahawks game. First of all, the national anthem, like, God bless America, I love but performing the national anthem, you don't win.
Yeah.
You can't win. All you can do is lose.
Totally.
You go, if you say one word wrong, or you do one run wrong, or you miss one note, you're done for the rest of your life. Straight to Rikers. And then if you kill it, nobody gives a shit. They're like, "Oh, game on."
Yeah, another person sang that perfectly.
Yeah, another person sang the song that has to be sung before every game. So you're already nervous to begin with, but it was kind of like a milestone. They asked me to do it, and I was like, I want to prove to myself that I can stand in front of 70,000 people and sing the most awkward song ever.
Yeah. You don't say no to that.
Well, I have many times since. I've said, every season.
Playoff game? They ask you every season.
They ask me every season, and I say no.
Oh yeah,
all right, Julian will take it next time.
But
I'll take it.
no, I don't say.
Just show up dressed in your Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does not work with the schedule. But I don't jump on the opportunity to sing the national anthem because of that specific reason. Like, I don't think you can. You don't win. Like, the only thing that can happen is bad stuff. Like, Fergie just did the national anthem at like a Lakers game. Oh, she got removed from the Black Eyed Peas. They just kicked her out of the band.
I mean,
what did they expect? It's the honor.
Anyways, I couldn't pick my feet up, and I had to walk out to the middle of the field.
It was one of the greatest things.
If you've ever tried to walk to the beach with flippers on, that's exactly what was happening. You gotta like pick your feet. Yeah. I was picking my feet up 3 feet higher than normal. I was like high stepping out to the middle of the field.
It was incredible.
My poor dad. I was like, "Dad, something happened to my legs." Like, my dad used to coach cross country. Like, "Dad, something happened to my legs. I can't pick my feet up. I need you to get a bottle of lotion and rub me down before the game." We're in the green room. My dad's just like rubbing out my shins. Because he used to have his runners would get shin splints, right?
Yeah.
And he would just rub them out. and I was like convinced that was going to help. Didn't help at all.
Oh my God.
I couldn't lift my feet up for like a month. I was tripping over myself for like a month on stage. Like my band, I told my band what happened. They were every show they were laughing their ass off, just waiting for me, fall on my ass.
If the people only knew,
oh my God,
what circumstances led to it all happening, it would be even better. That was absolutely hilarious and one of the greatest moments of you in my life.
Dude, I had another super funny story that popped into my head about tripping. We were playing a show in Tennessee. Actually, this is oh my God, this is a series of stories that I can tell right now.
Do it.
So we are playing a show in Tennessee. This is like a few weeks after meeting Taz in Australia. We've flown back to the States. We got a couple more gigs in the States before like the end of the year kind of wraps, or at least the end of some time. So I fly back. We got a show in Tennessee. I am like, first of all really dig this girl. Also, Australia is the shit. I want to go back there and hang out. So I book a flight and like a week in Australia for me and my buddy Elliot. And I'm in Tennessee playing this last gig. And it's like pouring rain. No, excuse me. It's not. Is it pouring rain? I forget why we had to leave the stage. I think it started pouring rain. We all had to exit the stage. And this stagehand, this poor guy, is busting his ass to like run out and grab like an amp or a mic so that it is not in the rain. And, bro, there's 10,000 people out on the stage. Or not on the stage, but in the audience. Uh-huh. He is full sprint, bro, from the side of the stage. Trips and like Pete Rose belly slides across the whole front of the stage. Does like the ridiculousness, like where his legs come up over his head, you know, like what do they call it, a scorpion? It was so, and I mean everybody just erupted. This poor kid was just humiliated. Oh. But we got back on stage, and you know, right after that. And everybody's still kind of like chuckling, seeing that. Bro, I felt good about this one. I came to the mic. Everybody quieted down, and I went, safe. And everybody erupted, and it was funny. And I looked at him, and he was like, he was having a jolly good time. I saved him, I think. So a friend of mine who lives in Tennessee had brought some weed. To like give to the band and allow.
Smoke weed?
Hell yeah.
Oh shit. Dude.
Well, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I now don't smoke as much weed anymore. I will enjoy some CBD every so often.
You get the giggles.
I love the gigs, bro. So my friend brings some weed and gives it to me to like give out to the band. And the next day, I'm flying out of Tennessee to LA to Australia. So the next morning, I go through all my stuff and I'm like looking for this weed that I know my friend had brought me, because I'm like, you check your bag for that stuff before you take off. You don't want to run into any trouble going through borders. So I search high and low, the whole thing. Can't find it. So I'm like,
see ya.
So, I can't find it. So I'm like, well, I must have just gave it away to somebody or something, or he took it back, or I don't know where it is. Whatever. Zip my bag up, take the flight, fly all the way to L.A., pick up my buddy Earl. We get on the flight. We're like, yes, dude, this is going to be awesome. Trip together. Elliot was like an old friend, and we just like kind of rekindled our friendship, so that was going to be really fun for us. So we get into Brisbane, and I look the way that I look, and Elliot is like, he has a dread on the back of his head that goes all the way down to his butt. Yeah. And he wears like hammer pants. He looks like a washed up DJ kind of. Incredibly talented soccer player and coach and hilarious human being, but just like he's a wild dresser. Mm-hmm. both he and I roll into Brisbane with a ticket that says we're only going to be there a week. And so the passport agents are like, bro, why you're here for a week? And I had this like huge, you remember that green bag I used to travel with, Steve? You probably lifted it in and out of shit. It's like a casket.
Yeah.
I got that bag and a guitar, and he's got a bag, So they're like, why do you have such a big bag? You're only coming here for a week. I'm like, listen, I'm a musician. I've been on the road for 6 months leading up to this. It's just all my shit. Okay. So they pull me aside and Elliot aside. They throw my bag on the table. They're going to search it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I totally get it, fellas. Completely understand why you would search me. Go for it. You're not going to find anything, but go for it. Goes through everything, rifling out, takes my shoes out, takes toiletries out, everything. Cool. All right, you're good. Throws it back in, lets me go. We meet up with Taz. We get to her apartment. We have like a full night there. And then the next night, we're going to go out. We're going to go like dancing or something. I pull this boot out, like my boots that I'm traveling with. Go to put my right foot in the boot. There's something in there. Pull out the entire jar of weed that he had given me. And, bro, this gate agent, like this, I was this close to never getting to spend any time with my wife, never getting back in Australia, never getting married, never having, like this close. The guy took that shoe. I remember he took the shoe out, threw it on the table.
Wow.
And that thing just stayed in there. It didn't fall out. I got so, that close, that lucky in that moment. And we pulled it out, and I was like, oh, my God. That's the last time I take weed as gifts from people ever.
I did the same thing with you after some party that we had at your house. I came. You gave us all, like, goodie bags of, like, a Sunday through Monday pill box. Mm-hmm. And it was, like, echinacea, vitamin C, a little bit of magnesium,
CBD.
A nug of weed, a tab of acid, some mushrooms. And it was like kind of a joke, but it was also like, a pill of Molly.
Welcome to my party.
Yeah, welcome to my party. So like, obviously that was just for show, and the drugs were plentiful throughout the party wherever it was, and so I didn't need to open up that little baggie. So I just like threw it on the top of my my carry-on bag. And I got back to New York, and I like just was unpacking, and that pill box was right on the top of my carry-on bag, like full of everything. I was like, oh my God, dude! Like they didn't open the bag, they didn't do anything. I have no idea how I got by with that, but
I wonder how many times, if you were able to quantify it, you've like narrowly escaped disaster without even knowing it. Yeah. Like oh man, it took me an extra 3 seconds to tie my shoes, and somebody ran a stop. Like I'm curious if there was a way to quantify that, how many times you've actually just like narrowly escaped. There's not, obviously, but in a different universe, if that was possible.
People that just get themselves into trouble easier than me.
Me
and Tony were like, what's it called when they interrogated by the feds in Florida when we came off a cruise because of 2 seeds of weed that we brought with us because we were like, we're going to plant a weed tree from Jamaica. Weed farm. And we got interrogated. My mom worked for the cruise line and had to convince the federales that me and Tony were socially inept, and that she didn't want to lose her job. She was like, I'm going to lose my job over my 2 dumbass kids. Yeah. So she was like, hey, my kids are like mentally unstable. And got out of it.
Not a hard sell. Not a hard sell.
Tony and I were just sitting there like looking at her like, she's like, see, look at these fucking idiots.
Oh my God. Dude. We had was it when Tristan was in New York or Jamil in New York that you got arrested for?
Yeah, that was when when Jamil was in New York. And
so I'm in New York at the same time as Jams, and I get a call from Jamil, and he's like, yeah, dude, Julian got arrested. I'm like, what? How did he get it's not that outside of the realm of possibility, but like, what did he do? They're like, well, apparently he had like a warrant out for his arrest because of like an open container ticket or what was
Are
it?
you asking me? Yeah.
Tell that story.
It was just I got an open container violation, $25 ticket when I first moved to New York because I was drinking like a Miller Lite on a stoop of an apartment, and a cop came over and handed me a ticket, and I was like, oh, it's $25, whatever. I'll deal with it later. Well, I'd never dealt with it.
Yeah.
So 5 years later, or however many years later, I got pulled over again, and I was with Jamil this time, and we had Coronas walking from like the corner bodega on the street to my apartment.
Great choice.
Ooh, dude, Presbyterian Deli, dude, shout out. That place makes the best sandwiches, dude.
I'm
Hero
so
sandwiches.
hungry right now, dude. I want a Buffy Chickie.
So hungry
I want a Chickie
my
Boo
God,
Boo
dude, those
from
Presbyterian
Chipotle.
Sandwiches are so nice. But anyways, Jamil and I were walking out. The guy in the store was like my dude, so he would like open us up beers and we'd drink him in the place while he was making our sandwiches. And we walked out, and sure enough, this big van, this NYPD van, pulls up, and what are you guys drinking? And I'm like, oh, Jamil, don't worry about this, dude. Like, I've gotten it's like a $25 violation, dude. Like, I'll pay for it for you. It's fine. He's just like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, what are you guys drinking? I'm like, oh, it's just Coronas. Sorry, man. Like, you can write me up a ticket. It's all good. They, like, take our licenses and go back to the car and come back. And the guy's like, one of the officers, because there's like 12 of them around us because they're coming in this van. And one of those officers is like, don't worry, man. I'll get you out of this summons. Like, you're not going to have to worry about anything. Like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's a small infraction. He comes back to me and is just like, hey, man, remember how I told you I was going to get you out of that summons? I was like, yeah.
You just said it.
Are you? Yeah.
Are you gonna? He's just like, well, I'm going to, but I got to take you to jail first. You got a warrant out for your arrest, buddy. Put your hands behind your back. You got the right to remain silent. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Why? Well, you didn't pay that $25 ticket the first time, so you had a warrant because of not paying or not showing up to your court date. The same thing that I didn't go that happened 5 years before. I just didn't pay the ticket, and I had to go I had to go sit at the precinct, stay until like 5 or 6 in the morning, and then get transported to Manhattan Corrections and spend a whole other like 36 hours in Manhattan Corrections with like 25 dudes just like looking at me, fucking like, bitch, I'm about to fuck you up.
you don't belong
Like,
in
dude,
here.
Fuck, man. I had to remember having to take a fucking poop, and it's just like an open toilet in the room.
With several guys?
Course, yeah.
Several, and there were plenty of guys just
that's
doing
hard.
them, dude.
That's
Oh, yeah,
hard to
they,
do.
They like threw us sandwiches, like baggied sandwiches under the door because we had to eat, right?
Were they any good?
Hell no, dude. They taste like kitty litter all over the sand. It's like fucking like sandpaper on your
Sad.
I calculated $185 in collect calls from the payphone in the cell to my ex-girlfriend. I called her literally like every 15 minutes. I was like, baby, please.
I had to tell these guys I'm in here for assaulting K-Logs chest bump so they don't beat me up.
Come in here and save me.
Dude, how hard is it to poop in front of people?
I didn't do it. I was just like, I'm just going to hold this and then backed up.
When I'm on the road, I get like, I'm a nervous pooper, and so I'll not poop for like 3-4 days because I don't have a toilet.
A hotel room.
Yeah, until there's like my own bathroom, which sounds really, as I say it out loud, I'm like, what a baby back bitch. But
this just sounds dangerous.
Well, no, I mean like there's plenty of really nice toilets on the road.
No, I just mean hoarding it for 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that how you hit the high notes? Is it pushing on your diaphragm?
I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's Samson's locks right there. But I don't understand. I mean, it's not intentional. And during that time, I don't have moments where I'm like, oh God, I don't feel constipated. I just never hit a point where I'm like, oh, I gotta go. When I'm at home every morning, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta, figure this out. But
well, I christen every show you play first thing. So
well, I appreciate that.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
I
Do you
definitely
sign the bathroom?
I'll leave a mark.
I feel like there is a special corner of hell reserved for people who write on bathroom stall.
I fucked here.
Yeah.
Little miss. Because I'm like, first of all, who has just Sharpies on them? when like walking around, and secondly, like if you're in, because it's usually in like these trucker toilets that are awful.
Or
like
venues,
I want to
anywhere.
get out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Somebody sits down and like draws this like intricate like mural of a wiener. I'm like, bro, how much time did you spend in here?
Lots of time.
Not gonna lie, dude. I kind of dig it. I always enjoy looking at that stuff.
I always laugh. When
Really?
someone writes like, "What's
yeah,
up?"
no, I'm just like,
I
it's like
hate
people, people that say "What's up" or just like something that's so like ambiguous to any. It's just like, want to party? Too bad. It's just like what? Like what is that sentiment?
Too bad.
Too bad. I don't like it. I mean, I just think about whoever owns the bathroom must every time you come in the bathroom, you're like, God dang it.
Yeah. Well,
It's like I'm required by law to have this bathroom because I own a public space.
Yeah.
And these fucking assholes come in here and decide to write some stupid non-needed thing all over my bathroom wall. I gotta hire somebody to come in here and paint over it.
My favorite is when like somebody writes a statement that's like offensive, and then somebody else like crosses out a word of it, and then like writes their own word in it, and then somebody else comes in and starts like and then it like becomes this whole like telephone
Turns
game
into a
thing.
haiku.
Yeah, it just turns into like this whole like argument of people who are never gonna meet, who like are never gonna like correct each other because it's just like new people coming and writing new things on top.
I don't like it, but that same thing happened. I think is funny when it's like, yo, for a good time, call this number, and it puts the number there, and then it's somebody cross out that number, put a different number underneath it, cross out that number, put a different number, and it's like 40 numbers on it.
I always put Julian's number.
Dude.
Yeah, I've put your number in a lot of bathrooms.
I've answered the calls, man. I've showed up to the party.
Yeah, hey, is this Julian Gavelanis?
Yeah,
There's a harsh one going around venues. A lot of these like mid-sized venues. It was for a long time. It was the singer of Keen has a tiny penis. Was written in like every men's room in every venue.
Who's Keen?
So, the band Keen.
Oh, like Keane.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like in tons of bathrooms and venues, like this size you were playing.
What was his? What was his?
It was written in multiple of them. So it's like someone was like on tour doing that.
Oh mercy! What was the? They had a great song off that first record. That first record had a big hit on it.
It's also though like you're putting that in a men's bathroom, and like only men are reading that. It's not like you're like offending this guy, unless he's a gay guy, which to that point I'm sure he doesn't still care.
But isn't the small penis thing just a competition amongst men? Like
I tell everybody that I got a small penis because it honestly, like, even if I do, it just like makes me makes me win because it's just like I got a big dick. Cool. No, you don't.
Right,
You
but that whole argument and sentiment is kind of only matters amongst men. You never like see. I mean, typically, from what I gather from the enjoyer, like the folk who enjoy penis, is that the size doesn't matter.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
It depends.
No, but that like so
I hope not.
that to me makes makes
it
sense
doesn't
as
matter.
that to me makes sense as to why you would put it in a men's bathroom.
Yeah.
It's lead
It could
singer
have been
from.
in the ladies' rooms. I always use the ladies' room, honestly. So
It's always nicer.
yeah, when you
Less-
go into a venue, like when you're at load in before someone maybe has
When
cleaned
nobody's
anything,
there.
yeah, you go in ladies for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. Men are disgusting.
Ladies can be too sometimes.
They can.
Man. I've gone into some
They can.
ladies' rooms. I used to bus at Brooklyn Bowl in New York.
Oh,
in
wow.
Brooklyn. Oh God, dude, the ladies' room would be way worse than the guys' room.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was insane. That was and like I've talked to women before. They're like, oh yeah, dude, like women's bathrooms are some of the worst, especially at venues.
Mm-hmm.
So I get like, going before
I think
group
it's
of people
more
come
of
in.
the amount of piss that's on a seat or the floor.
Sure.
You have to just spend 5 minutes cleaning it in a men's
Yeah.
room, opposed to the ladies' room where you don't really have to worry about dunking your pants onto the ground and then coming up and having to be sopping wet.
Yeah. Well, I think we just assume that like all girls are like tidy and nice, and they ain't when they're getting drunk.
No, they're not for
No.
sure. For sure. 2020's over, boys. It's gone. What's your rewind synopsis of 2020, Jules.
Damn, dude. Well, let me move this closer to my mouth.
It's like,
Is it bothering you that's listening right now? If I talk from here or if I talk from here, does it make a diff? I hear it.
you hear
I
it.
hear the difference.
Leave it in
Alan.
the comments.
Leave it in the comments. Yeah. This year has been a very interesting one for all of us, I think. My year started out with a breakup, which was super weird.
Like what part of the year? January?
Yeah, at the end of January. Yeah, I went through a breakup, and so that was kind of at the forefront of my mind for the first. I mean, it's still kind of there sometimes,
Yeah.
but that kind of consumed a lot of my brain space for a while because I was just trying to navigate how to kind of get through that. But I think at some point because that was even prior to COVID hitting, and once COVID hit, there was something really beautiful for me personally, outside of all of the tragedy that was happening around the world, that allowed me to kind of reframe my interests about what I was doing with my creative self, because no longer did I have the opportunity to continue auditioning and doing the thing that I was doing out in New York, which was kind of just like pounding the pavement and being the actor out there that I was constantly trying to be. And it was really refreshing to kind of take a step away from that and to ask myself why I was even doing it to begin with. And if I'm not able to do it, then how else am I going to try to kind of satisfy that creative need for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of really interesting things that I started doing creatively for myself that didn't, really provide any financial gain whatsoever, but really did satisfy this part of my brain that I hadn't really tapped into that much. And I think that has kind of set me into this new pursuit of creating and producing art for myself and doing things that scare the shit out of me because I'm learning that I can by just having the willingness to believe that we're capable of doing something more than like waiting for a phone call to kind of throw an opportunity your way.
Right.
I came out here originally. I did a cross country road trip and came out here in July.
July, yeah.
And I've pretty much been here since. I've gone back to New York a couple times, but I've pretty much been here, like living with you guys and starting a whole new business model for my whole entire my life, myself, and what I'm trying to do. And it's completely different than what I was doing before. But it's now, as I can like kind of reflect on it, it's everything that I would have wanted to be doing anyways. But I was really scared to jump into it because it's just like, well, how do you get started? What do you do? Like, how do you like decide that like once you have momentum going in one area that you're gonna like pull away from that and do it in this area? And I don't know, man. It's so it's so rewarding to have come out here and started this thing with you guys. It's awesome, man.
We've done a lot in the last. Well, it's been 9 months for me and Steve. Me and Steve started Live at the Lodge for... did I do a few episodes of Live at the Lodge without you? Like one or two with Taz or something?
I think you did just like live at your house.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so me and Steve have done 37 episodes of Live at the Lodge. That's a weekly episode. I mean, each episode is an hour long. So that's... I mean, regardless of the Yelp rating that we would get from the content, like we've created over I'm not even going to try to do the math, but 37 episodes, each an hour long.
5.5 months.
Yeah, well,
we've done
definitely 40 hours plus of like content.
Yeah, for people to digest and have for free,
Yeah.
And to hopefully bring a little bit of joy into their life, and it's been quality stuff too. I mean, it hasn't been. We've gotten better.
Yeah.
The coolest part about the world we live in and the world that is emerging is that 75 years ago, to get your foot in the door to create recorded content, whether it be moving picture or audio, was so expensive. It was only like a handful of corporations that could afford the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always like the gatekeeper, was like the amount of money it took to make a movie. You had to use film, and there was only so many people who knew how to curate film
Run
and
cameras.
run
and all that
cameras.
stuff,
But we're now living in a day and age
It's
where
all rental.
this whole entire studio, which I'm sure the techies out there would have an opinion about everything we do and how it looks regardless, but
Sure.
we've created a recording studio, a TV studio. We've made our own movie and TV show. And we haven't had to partner with Universal or Sony or any of these major corporations who can afford it anymore. The entry level, or the gate to get in is no longer. And I think that's so cool. And I'm so excited and elated. I think a lot of creatives are like, God, it's so easy to make a record nowadays. There's so many people making records and making YouTube videos and making, there's like so many people doing the thing, which is true, right? There's a lot more happening. And so to cut through that is, you can look at that as an obstacle, but I'm overjoyed that we're living in a day and age where like 3 Nimrods can get up in an attic of a 100-year-old lodge and like have fun together, be honest about who we actually are, and talk about it and relate to whoever it is watching this, right? Like, we don't know personally every single human being who's listening to this show or watching the Live at the Lodge episodes, but we are satiating an appetite for something for somebody who needs it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm constantly filled with gratitude when I think about how lucky we are to be living in 2020. Even though we're going through what the worst thing the world has experienced probably since World War II. This is, for me personally, because obviously my heart is heavy for everybody affected by this. Don't get me wrong, but we've managed to live in a situation and put ourselves in a place where we can connect in real time to people who enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
We don't have to jump through hoops. We don't have to, meet the right person in the coffee shop who's going to sign me to the right contract. It's like, no, we got an idea. We've got art to give. We have perspective to give, and we can give it in real time to the people. And learning that process with you guys during this whole time has been like super cool to have that opportunity and to reflect back on at the end of this year and go, damn, dude, we've done over 40 hours worth of quality content for the world.
Well, this is
Well,
the
well
20th
over that,
episode of
yeah.
this too, man.
20th episode is
Well over that. So 60, and then plus the movies and the shows, and just the
Yeah.
time being up here. The times we do this and they don't record correctly.
yeah, or just or learning how to set up the space. Like
Totally.
I've had to learn all the back end tech of this whole situation, and I've known kind of how it works and signal flow, and I've been really interested in video and cameras for a while, but I am so elated that to be at the end of this year and to look back and be proud of what we've done together, and
Yeah.
I love you guys. I appreciate you being here, and that was my wife calling, which means that
Yeah.
we have to end this podcast.
Give a little ditty, Steve, if you have one, man. About,
Yeah, tell us how you feeling about 2020.
I think the same thing as far as just being, I'll say, out of a sour situation globally and personally, I think we've made the best out of it, and we've just tried to not hide and be sad for everything else to make us unmotivated. I think we took it and we're like, well, let's do the little we can to be positive and bring something back out for us, our esteem, and other people and their esteem, and try to just make any day better for anybody. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's all we can really do. And I'm just grateful to do that with you guys, and look forward to continuing to do that and having it grow.
It is an interesting catch-22, just like having the world be operating as it is, and to be coming out of all of it with kind of positive mentality and a feeling of growth, and like we've done something that's cool. And for me personally, I feel like my creative voice is just evolving and growing more. And despite who listens to this or who patronizes anything that we put out into the world, that's amazing that they're doing that in general, because we're so far from where we're going.
Yeah.
And like this is just the beginning of something so cool. We were talking about that today. Like 20 years from now, where are we gonna be? You know, like how silly are we gonna think we were when we were the age that we are now? You know, like, oh my God, remember when we were doing that at that level? Like, and not to say that we're gonna be like gigantic superstars by any means, but we're gonna definitely have such a better grasp.
Yeah,
on all
but
this stuff.
even
It's so new still.
Even if you go, I was doing this the other day. I was watching like early episodes of Live at the Lodge, and I was like, oh my God, like look, like that's different from what we're doing now.
It's grown so much.
It's grown a lot.
Even the beginning episodes of the podcast.
Beginning episodes of the podcast, you're just the only way, in my personal opinion, this is the best way that I learn is doing.
Yeah.
And learning from the mistakes and kind of self-filtering and going, well, I did this and I don't like that part of this.
Right.
And but unless you're doing it, unless you're actively out executing, me personally, some people might, but I don't actively learn well unless I'm just out failing, I guess, is really what it is. I hope in 20 years I'm continuing to fail.
Right.
Because I'll be continuing to learn. And I want to be continuing to try too. And it might be this thing, it might be Live at the Lodge, it might be a whole array of different projects that I take on, but I've always felt like, kind of powerless. For many years I felt powerless because I was just like, I felt like I was constantly waiting around for somebody to like unlock that door and open it for me. Go, hey, hey, it's Bonnaroo, and we're going to put, or hey, it's this festival that you should, and granted, all those opportunities that have been amazing, but you're constantly like waiting around for those things to happen versus just creating the opportunity. And it has felt like in the last 9 months that I'm closer to driving that vehicle versus, trailing it by 7 cars.
Yeah, I think what's cool is that we are in the phase of now creating the content ourselves, which is such a huge step in and of itself. But we're also now just trying to craft it and make it good.
Right.
So we're we've surpassed like let's take on this pursuit to create content. Let's try to do something. We're doing that now. And now we're in the process of just doing it well. And that's going to come from time and come from doing it. So that's why I say, like, thank you to everybody who's paid any attention to any of this stuff at all, because it's such a trial and error thing. We're not sitting here saying that we're good at any of this stuff. We have no idea what we're really even doing. We're just diving in, and that's so cool.
Well, I think, but what we've had to do, because we've had no real money behind any of this stuff besides our Patreon family and then the little bit that I've had saved up from previous tours, we've all become on our own producers, directors, editors, audio techs. Like, we've thrown this all together and learned this all ourselves.
Yeah.
We've had to. We've been forced to. This pandemic has forced us to do that. And thank God, because, like, if it were different, I don't know if I would have learned in the same way that I've had to learn.
Totally. If you'd asked me even in March if I was going to know how to run, like, a TV studio cockpit, I would have been like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking? Why would I need to learn that?
Yeah, makes no sense.
Yeah.
20 years from now, I want us all to look back and give each one of ourselves a high five right now and be like, thanks for setting that shit up for us, guys.
Oh, I'll be haunting this attic for sure.
Yeah. Because you're going to be dead?
Oh, yeah, super dead.
Yeah, I'll be
no, stop. Thank you to everybody who has listened and supported us and given us your time. We love you. We hope you're well. And we hope you stay tuned.
2021.
2021,
2021.
2021, baby!
Make it your own, kids. Make it your own. Love you guys.
2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021. 2021
Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one, huh? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/live at the lodge, where you can support the How Good's of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep, yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/live at the lodge.